What's up, everybody? I'm Jeff Young, and today we're talking about pins. Now, this is your standard 5-pin. This pin is made out of plastic, probably about 10 years old, I'm guessing. You won't see a whole lot of wear on this pin, just strictly because the ball actually doesn't strike the pin very often. It strikes component number 2, which is the rubber. Won't really spend a whole lot of time on this actual component, just strictly because, like I said, it's pretty standard across most bowling centers. You don't see a whole lot of variance from what this type of equipment is used. The second component, however, is a little more a variety, if you will. We at Elmira Bowl use the Phipps brand rubbers. We just find that they work best for the setup that we have going. This rubber band here is a couple years old. We've taken it off a pin. It's no longer in service. One thing that I will say that you'll notice from this rubber is that if you press down on it, there will be some pushback. I feel like that's always good. You'll notice that some of the brand rubbers that come out, they don't have that pushback. You can literally just take it and just squeeze it all the way the insides touch each other. For me, I feel like that's too soft, and what I mean by that is if the ball strikes it, it changes the impact, the deflection angle will change, more of a springboard, if you will, and it'll send the pins flying, not necessarily in the path that you would want. Like I said, we use the Phipps brand. They seem to have a pretty good quality. I know, talking to a lot of other proprietors, they also like this brand of rubber, but it really all depends on the setup that it's being run at your center. Now, the hot topic would be component number 3. If you've seen anything online in the last couple years, the chatter online about the black base, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the black base and how it compares to the standard white base, what differences there are, and what it does to the pins. Now, we'll start with the standard white base, just a regular plastic one. This one is quite a few years old, but it's never actually been put on a pin. Just some key points to look at is the pitch of the base, the bottom of it, and then where it butts up to the actual pin. And you see, you can just fit, it would fit right in there. Now, if you're looking at the black base is, if you put them side by side, about, I'd say about a ½ inch longer than the white base, which really changes the dynamic of the pin. The pin will actually sit up higher. If you put it up here, you definitely see the difference. And the actual pitch itself, meaning the how narrow the bottom is, if you look at the two of them, how different they really are. Now, I can almost take the black base and almost fit it inside the white base bottom, just to show you the difference there. Now, why this is important, and why it's kind of a bit of a craze right now, is that the pin sits up a little bit higher, changes the deflection of the pin when the ball hits it. One of the things that was, I guess, noticed a few years ago when these, before these things became a thing, the white base was actually set up so that if the ball struck the pin would actually bounce off the deck first and then go on a path. These black bases send the pin more on a plane, which gives you a little bit more true deflection. Also, obviously, with the greater pitch of the base itself, it'll topple easier, meaning if a pin goes by and touches it, or a ball hits it as it goes by, it's just more likely that it'll topple over and score for you. I've seen some centers that run specifically the black base on the corner pins and the white bases on the other 3s and the head pin, and that works fine. You'll notice that the scoring will increase because the black base 2 pins are just easier to tip over. I've also seen centers that run only the head pin with the black base, which gets you that deflection that I was talking about. I feel like the true way to go is to have them on all the pins. Just seems to combine the deflection and the ability for the pin to tip over. and puts it together for the optimal scoring. Now, your bowling center may or may not be running these. The one thing that I will say is that they are substantially more expensive than the white base, and they do get wear, and with the wear obviously means that they're going to have a lifespan, and they will need to be replaced. Now, if you're talking, say, 3 or 4 times more cost per base, that starts to add up. If you're a proprietor and you're thinking about running a black base on a pin, I would just say that in terms of an investment, you might not necessarily see the return immediately, but your scoring will increase. And I think it's a really good business plan to have your weekly customers, your league bowlers, walking out of your building every week happier because the scoring went better for them. I really don't think any proprietor in their right mind wants their place to be a tougher scoring house, just simply because if the customers are unhappy, they might start looking elsewhere, and they also won't likely be trying to find more leagues to bowl in at your place. Getting that bowler that bowls once a week, maybe you can get them to bowl twice a week because they're feeling good about themselves and they're seeing the results. The one thing that I will say about the black base is it rewards good balls. You throw a good shot, you're typically going to get the result you deserve, and it just seems to work out a little bit better for those accurate bowlers. The seniors at our place, they noticed an increase in scoring basically overnight, just simply based on the fact that if they're not throwing with as much power, the pin toppling a little bit easier just increases the chances of throwing strikes. And if you're running a bowling center, I don't need to tell you how many times you've been told about your corner pins being glued down or there must be tape on them. And this kind of alleviates some of the problem. You're still going to get that. I don't think that'll ever go away, but it definitely helps. So that's pretty much the 3 main components of a pin. Hopefully this kind of gives you a little bit of insight of the object that you're shooting at. I find that most of the time people don't spend the necessary time to learn the ins and outs of kind of the forgotten parts, the pins themselves, and they spend a lot of times on their equipment or how the lanes are, which are very important too. But the more you understand about what you're aiming at, I think the better off you'll be as well. That's all we got for today. Be sure to like and subscribe below as we continue to bring more content for the 5-pin bowler. We'll see you next time.